Welcome. Thank you all for coming. I'm Chris Dishinger, co-founder of LDG Development, here with my partner Mark Lechner and all of our team. Thank you all for being here. We're here to celebrate a three-prong really thing, ribbon cutting, groundbreaking, and we're here to celebrate partnerships. So we're really excited about all of the things going on here today. LDG was founded in 1994, and we are a large affordable housing developer. It's really where our passion, our love is. And when we talk about affordable housing, I love the opportunity to talk about affordable housing because you hear a whole bunch of stuff that you don't really want to hear about people when they talk about housing and affordable housing and who lives there and all that kind of stuff. And I always say, well, people live there. And really, housing is about a lot of things. So first of all, it's about economic development. So first of all, we built all these buildings. That creates construction jobs. There are people that will work here to maintain the property and lease the units that'll be here for a long, long time. But more importantly than the immediate economic benefit, housing is about education, because when you have a safe, quality place to live, we know your education results are going to turn out better. So the kid that has a safe place to live will do better in school, will then later come into the workforce and help in that way and be better members of our community. Housing is about health and healthcare outcomes. Housing first. You cannot take care of your health until you have a safe place to live. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And I'm not going to drone on because I know there's a lot of people here. I could talk about affordable housing and how important it is literally for hours. In 2019, we opened this property, our first residence, and we couldn't finish construction fast enough. So, I hear a lot of things in the community about, well, it sure seems like there's a lot of apartments going. Where are all the people going to come from that are going to live here? And what I will tell you is there's not enough housing in this community. There's not enough housing on the high end, and there's certainly not enough housing on the affordable end of the spectrum. So just appeal to everybody. When you hear comments like that, push back, because we filled these 312 units almost as fast as we could build the units. And so we're really proud to be talking today about the next 240 units of mixed income housing that is going to go along with this. Units will range up from 30% all the way up to 70% of area median income. And I think this is something the community should be proud of. The good news doesn't stop there. Thanks. Today we're announcing a partnership with Norton Healthcare and Firstsource. Beginning in September, residents living in Jefferson Green and soon Jefferson Landings will have access to weekly healthcare services, and we are going to be focused on prevention and wellness. So, it's all part of this whole equation of taking care of people, lifting our community up. We hope to expand this initiative and make it a national model, but we're really proud to be doing it first here in Louisville, Kentucky, where our home is. The people that live here, from social workers, teachers, the Walmart worker, the retailer, they're critically important to our community and provide the services we need every day. I also want to make sure we thank everybody, Mayor Fisher, Dr. McCanns. I think I'm missing some people in here, but I know Russ Cox is here. And so anyway, sometimes when you got, you're going to thank everybody, Mark? Well, I appreciate it. Randall Schaefer, the head of Firstsource. So, and then Mark will make sure that he gets anybody I miss. I definitely want to thank our Kentucky team, Michael and Ramona, Elijah and Laura, for being part of this. I often say, what happens with these things is A bunch of other people do a whole bunch of work, and then I get to stand up and take credit for it. So I appreciate the ability to do that. Thank you, Kentucky team. I want to thank our construction company, Expert Design and Construction, headed by Terry Cadaley, for building these quality units, building them fast, and building them well. Winterwood, our property management company, is in charge of taking care of the asset and being big, strong members of the community. So I think I'm now supposed to introduce our next speaker. When Norton and LDG started kicking around ways that we could partner, Riggs Lewis, System Vice President, was one of the first people we met. With the support of Russ, Riggs helped us develop a vision for what this partnership could be.
Wow, what a place. How about a round of applause? I mean, I had a lot of notes that I was going to talk from, and as I've walked in, I've realized that I'm going to put them down, and I'm just going to tell you a few things and get out of the way. The first thing I want to tell you is thank you for all that you've done to get this community through a once-in-a-century pandemic. We are so proud of who we are as a community and how we came through this. So give yourself a round of applause. From a healthcare perspective, we are so happy to see you without a mask on. But when you go to places where you need one, make sure that you have one. You know, we learned some lessons during COVID, and people ask me all the time, you know, wasn't it a terrible time, a horrible time? Yes, it was. But there was a lot of learnings from COVID that we need to make sure that we embrace and take forward. And some of them are right here today, evidenced by what you're seeing. The first thing that we learned is that access is important. And access means an ability to get to healthcare services that you need. For so long in healthcare, we said, come to us. We know where to put things. We know where you should be, come to us. What we realized is that we've got to come to where people are. And today, we start a partnership where we're able to join together and come where people are and want to be and will be in the future. What a great lesson for all of us to have learned, that access is so important. This partnership that we're able to establish today is going to impact so many people in so many positive ways. I think the second thing that we've learned through the pandemic is that partnerships are very important. There is no entity that can survive singularly. And what we found out is that we could connect dots that we'd never connected before as a result of this pandemic. We were able to connect dots today that are going to advantage the people who live in this development and the development that's going up behind me in ways that are going to be models for the rest of the country. That's significant in Louisville, Kentucky, that we're able to answer a lot of the issues around healthcare and around access, around housing, and around education with a partnership like this. So it comes together when we can all work together for the good of those people who are there. Norton Healthcare, we are the front runners in health equity. We developed last year, about this time last year, we developed the Institute for Health Equity, Norton Healthcare. And we realized that we needed a great leader who would help us traverse through some very difficult and uncharted times. We were very, very fortunate as we looked at a leader to become executive director of this, realized that the person who was best equipped to do that is someone that I'm going to introduce to you right now, Dr. Kelly McCants. He's our medical director for Norton Heart and Vascular Institute, Advanced Heart Failure and Recovery Program. That is a mouthful and a whole lot of his day every day. Has been for a long time. But he has a passion around making certain that health is something that is a right, healthcare is something that is a right and not a privilege. So we asked him to, with whatever time he had left over, to serve as executive director of the Institute for Health Equity, which is a part of Norton Healthcare. He's done great things. He's going to continue to do great things. You're going to see partnerships just like this and many others in the future that have Norton Healthcare there. Chris, we are so happy to be part of this. We thank you for taking the bold steps that are always necessary to make great things happen.
I'm going to talk to you guys about two dangers. The first danger is coming behind Russ Cox. You know, you may have some things that you want to talk about, but when he comes, it pretty much goes out of the window. But the real danger is I'm not going to even speak from what we have here, because every time I hear Russ speak and the leadership at Norton Healthcare, I get humbled and inspired at the same time. Because being an African American provider, it is important to see what we're seeing here. A large healthcare organization, partner around housing, and of course to make sure each person achieves the highest health possible. And that's the goal, and that's why we're here. I think that the second danger is coming early. So normally I'm late, but today I was early, and I had a significant conversation with Christy. And we were remarking about the work that her and Riggs did and the rest of the team to get here. But something more important came out. And it's the fact that while we're here partnering and setting examples for what the rest of the country should do, we still have to remember that trust is an issue. And as long as we're moving the right direction, we have to be intentional, to steal one of your words, about continuing to come here, not just today, not just during Juneteenth, but in the future as well. Now, a lot of that responsibility will fall on our prevention and wellness team, who are phenomenal, by the way. So I, too, am standing here on behalf of a lot of members of Norton Healthcare, but they are the boots on the ground. They'll make sure that these residents understand how to navigate healthcare in terms of their screenings, their prevention, their well visits, but also how to navigate Norton Healthcare. Because we'll have our mobile and prevention units that will come out here, but we also have a brick and mortar which is across the street. And so once we leave, a lot of the work will fall on our prevention and wellness team. The final piece is that I'm extremely excited to be a part of a situation where LDG, Norton Healthcare, and everybody here is collaborating to make sure we support people of color, women of color, and communities of color. But the most important point is that we can set an example, so when you go down to Chattanooga and when you go down to Atlanta, you can't do what you're doing without mentioning Norton Healthcare was the blueprint. So thank you all for being here. We got a lot of work to do, and we're happy to do it.
What an incredible and impressive campus. A special congratulations to you and your entire team. I didn't know what to expect. This was my first time being here today. For those of you that are here for the first time, I'm sure you're just as equally impressed as I am. So great to be here on this momentous occasion. Firstsource, also you may know us as Medicist. We are the largest eligibility enrollment services provider in the state of Kentucky. In 2020, we helped 83,000 people in the state of Kentucky gain financial assistance for health care. We work with little over 600,000 people nationwide annually. This is the heart of what we do. Gaining access to affordable housing, access to health care, and being able to pay for it is sometimes intimidating and even a little bit scary. We at Firstsource and our team help navigate that journey and put people at peace of mind so that they have access to what they are entitled to. I'm excited about the partnership with Norton Healthcare and LDG. This model should be an example for the entire country to follow. This is the first time we've been part of this kind of partnership, and excited to be here today. So again, thank you to Norton Healthcare, thank you to LDG, and thank you to the tenants for trusting us and our team to help you navigate this journey.
It is great to be here. Before I start, I want to recognize Al Gentry here. He's our state representative. So Al, thank you for your support here. Look, this is a groundbreaking day, literally, but in so many different metaphoric ways as well. We're talking about now 550 additional affordable housing units, Christy McCravey, here in our community. And when you think about what our gap's about 33,000. So this is a nice stab at that, almost 2% here in one stroke. But what it represents, Russ, you've talked about it in terms of the bigger picture of what's taking place here. When we think about stabilizing people and all the different pieces of the puzzle that are required, yes, housing is absolutely one of those. It's hard to get anything done if you don't have a stable roof over your head. Healthcare, we talked about that here today in terms of that being a critical part of the solution. And I'd like to add one more just to make sure that everybody's aware of this, and that's access to education. We know that the #1 disruptor of poverty is a post-secondary degree. And it could be a 4-year degree, it could be a PhD, but it could just be a credential as well. So Evolve 502 was funded to the point in the community now where every JCPS, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, there are no financial barriers to getting a post-secondary degree. So think about that. If you're a single mom living here with a couple kids, and you now say, I got housing, I got health care, and my kid's got a pathway to college. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. And that needs to be the model in the United States of America, and we're doing that right here. I'd like to enlist you all here today to become advocates with me, if you would, with the advocacy for funding to keep people housed. The pandemic really hammered a lot of folks, and particularly our folks at lower income levels and moderate to low income levels. Thanks to federal assistance, we've been able to launch eviction prevention programs that so far have helped more than 23,000 residents remained housed to date. And Marilyn Harris is back here. I want to thank you and the entire team, the Louisville Forward team, the Develop Louisville team, our Office for Community Resilience as well, to make sure that our passion is keeping people in houses. Once they're out, this whole cycle just starts, and it's horrible. Last week, we received an additional $27 million, our state allocation on this as well, and I've put $10 million into the American Rescue Plan effort to do this. So first and foremost priority, keep people in housing, okay? So that's short-term housing assistance. But Chris talked about the Affordable Housing Trust Fund as well that we started here in the past couple years. Bill Hollander, Metro Council person, tremendous advocate for that, if you get a chance to say hello to him. But we need, and Louisville's story is America's story, we need 31,000 more new units of affordable housing. So if you go to Indianapolis, they need 50,000. If you go to Cincinnati, they need 45,000. This is an American problem of making sure people have dignified housing. So advocate with me, if you would. In this budget that's going to start July the 1st, and I'm sorry to talk about budgets and money, but that's what makes the difference at the end of the day. We've got $10 million in this upcoming budget for the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That would mean that we put $66 million so far into our Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and we've been able to impact about 5,000 units so far. So when you talk about our gap of around 30, talk about 500 here, talk about 5,000 that these city programs have done, we just got to keep chipping away at these programs. And oftentimes challenges seem so darn big, Russ. Like how are we going to vaccinate everybody in the community, Kelly? You know, it's a big number. How do we do it? You know, one person at a time. You know, how do we house people? One unit at a time. So you got to get started, and your all's voices make a big difference with that. With your federal delegation, our state delegation, our Metro Council, please speak up for fair and affordable housing for everybody. And in closing, I just want to thank Chris and Mark. These two have had a weird and beautiful love affair throughout their career. I mean, you can see it on full display here. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but I've worked with these guys for a long time, and their passion toward housing and building teams of people that care. I mean, who is everybody here? Nobody shows up at these type of announcements like this, but they show up because of what LDG is doing, because of your all's passion to keep people housed for health care and for education. And so much of this is happening, not just in our community. These guys are national developers, but we really, really appreciate your passion to your hometown here in Louisville. You guys are great Louisville citizens and great Americans. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mayor. All right, so next, look, we got a lot of important people here, a lot of dignitaries, a lot of people that make all of this happen. But really, the most important person is going to speak now, the person who lives here, the person who makes this home, the person that we're all here for. So Melissa Cox moved into Jefferson Green about a year ago. As one of hundreds of individuals will now be able to access services provided by Norton and Firstsource. And I hope that she's going to say this is a pretty good place to live, because it's really part of our dream and our vision is to make sure that everybody has a quality place to live.
Long story short, basically, me and my kids were homeless, got a divorce, all of that. We had to move in a one-bedroom for like 6 months. We saved our money. My daughter actually found Jefferson Green Apartments. She's like, Mom, I want to live here. And I'm just like, okay, well, how much is it? You know, what do we got to do to move in there? So basically, she did all the work because she really wanted to live here. And she was like, well, look at all the stuff that they have to offer. They have programs for women, domestic violence situations. They help you with that. They have a gym. They have a pool. They just had so many programs to help you. And so I didn't know if we'd be able to get in here or not due to our financial situation. But when we came to the office, we kept coming, and then people just kept helping us, and I was like, I think we're going to get in. And so we eventually got in. I was so excited. And this has been a dream for me. And I have to say this because we lived in a house before, so we lost the house or whatever. But when I was in the house, I had to cut the grass, I had to weed eat, you know, I had to find a plumber, I had to do the most, and it was just too much, you know. So I was like, I want to live in an apartment. I do, because I want something that has everything. So I wanted that, so they have all of that. And so I'm just excited. Like, now I don't have to do that stuff anymore. And then also for me, living in affordable houses also gives me an opportunity to be an entrepreneur. So it being affordable, now I can pursue my dream. Yes, I can pursue my dream. So I think that that's what it's doing for a lot of people, like the college students and other people that are moving in. You know, it's helping them also. So that's what it's doing for me. I have 2 children. My daughter's 21 and my son is 22, and they're great kids. And I really tried to get them to come today, but they're like, Mom, I do not want to be on TV. So, but, and also, hopefully with Norton's, I would like to start a walking club here. Because I walk around like twice a week and do a little jogging or whatever. But I think that's something that would be great to add, because everybody can't afford a gym. Some people don't want to go to the gym, but for some of us older people, I like to work out outside. I like to go outside. I like the fresh air. So I'm hoping we can tag team and do that, you know. And sponsor some, you know, some little stuff, maybe some water bottles, Jefferson Green on it. So, yes, I'm promoting. And anybody else want to tag team, let's get this started. So, but I'm just thankful really to be here. I really am, to wake up every day to a nice apartment. They keep it clean. They keep the grass cut. It's just a nice place to live. And I couldn't ask for a better place to live. And the fact is, everybody should be allowed to live in a nice place, no matter your income, no matter your race, no matter what. You know, we should be able to live nice too, regardless of our circumstances. We all have circumstances, we all have problems, we all have issues, but you just got to keep pushing and keep going. You know, that's just life. AKA Model Melissa B. Find me, look me up. That's what I do. That's my dream, and that's what I am doing. Thank y'all.
He's been a great business partner. It's been a wild, fun ride. And like sometimes when I come in and go, you know, I want to tie up a piece of land and develop something that nobody wants, that everybody's going to scream and holler about, but it'll be okay in the end. And Mark's been with me every step of the way, supportive. And so with that, I'll just introduce you and quit rambling on.
All right, so I want to clarify what Mayor Fisher said. Chris is my best friend, business partner, and probably the best business partner in the world. But my really best love of my life partner is my wife, Barbara, who's out here. Right back there. There she is. So we'll get that straight before we go any further. And thanks again to all our partners, to Norton Healthcare, Firstsource, and Mayor Fisher again. thank you for your support and to the commitment that you all have made to the families here. You've already heard from several of our partners, but there's one other group we really need to thank, is our financial investors, who are essential to every single deal. This group writes the checks and makes sure we have the capital we need to build first-class housing. For Jefferson Green, we have U.S. Bancorp Community Development Corporation, Mason Joseph, Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund, RX Real Estate Corporation, Kentucky Housing Corporation, all served as investment partners, while R4 Capital and R4 Capital Funding, Louisville Cares and Kentucky Housing Corporation partnered with us in Jefferson Landing. I know that there are several representatives from these organizations with us today, so I'd like to invite you guys, everybody I mentioned, to stand and let's all recognize them for their support. Norton, you get a stand. A lot of folks standing around back, so thank you, everybody. In addition to the financial capital, we also need political support to move developments like this forward. So I want to thank Congressman John Yarmouth, who has been a long-term advocate for affordable housing. Although he could not be here today, he asked that I convey his full support for this innovative partnership and his excitement in our efforts to build a national model for increased access to services for the underserved communities. So Congressman Yarmouth's District Director, Dana Mayton, Dana, there she is here today to represent his office, and I ask that she stand. Stand, Dana. Thank you. And that we thank her and for the Congressman's support, so thank you. We are also delighted to have our state representative, Ellen Gentry. Ellen, please stand. And as Chief of Staff to Secretary Eric Friedlander, Jackie Richardson joining us today. Where's Jackie? Hey, Jackie. Thank you. Representative Gentry and Ms. Richardson, thank you for all the Commonwealth is doing to meet the needs for all Kentuckians. We appreciate your support and are looking forward to working with the state to expand this model into other parts of the Commonwealth. More developments like these, and thank you everybody, it is an incredible development, could be made possible by enacting a state affordable housing tax credit, Mr. Gentry. We ask for your help in supporting the Kentucky Affordable Housing Coalition's efforts to secure state housing tax credit by reaching out to your state legislator. So all you folks here, reach out to your state legislator, whether it's Mr. Gentry or whomever. It's very important that we get a state housing tax credit in Kentucky. Again, thank you all for your continued support and for believing in LDG's mission of providing high-quality, affordable housing for working families and active seniors in our communities. So with that, it's time to officially cut the ribbon to celebrate the completion of Jefferson Green and also to break ground over here on our newest development, Jefferson Landing.
Awesome. Thank you.